So this is the Bose 802 Series 3. These came out of Superdry in York. Initially I got 6 of them, but as you can see, because they've been in a retail store, they're mint condition, no marks at all. They even had the Bose flying kit and the wall brackets. I only got the original 6, however I also managed to get hold of the guy that got the original, I can't remember, 10 or something to make up for the max amount, and he also had the controller, which is there, and the 3 QSC amps that went with it. Now Bose, and particularly 802, a lot of people love or they hate it, but what this speaker can do that not many other speakers can do is kick out a lot of 50Hz thump and a massively wide angle of sound, because you've got 8 of those drivers. And that full range Bose driver, they use that in the ceiling speakers, the wall speakers, everything, because it's just very versatile, very good. And a lot of people think, well, how can you send a V curve through that and it sound good without hurting your ears? Well, I came across this track earlier, and I've heard it millions of times. On the headphones especially, it sounded really good, but on these it was just something else. It sounded like the audience that was in the track was actually in the room, similar to the effect the 901s can do, and this will definitely show it. Everything else, bearing in mind we've only got 4 of the 16 that we've got in total there. If you set all of them up in some kind of wild 8 speaker aside line array, then there probably would be even more bass because of the boundary gain with them stacked, and the soundstage would be even wider than that. But even off axis here, that still sounds almost as good as it does straight in front. Whereas if that was a conventional horn, you would lose all the detail off axis. I think that's very impressive.
It is very good indeed.
There's not much I dislike about them. I do find they're a bit more harsh at some frequencies than the Series 2s. Maybe it's because they were a paper cone and it had a material front cover that absorbs some of the, the frequencies, whereas they've just got a metal grille and no paper drivers, so there's not as much dampening maybe. But they do sound good.
From a slight little bit of tweaking, there can be 110%, but even at still, on this track, we're sounding pretty damn good.
All we've got there is the Spotify EQ and obviously Bose's 802 Series 3 preset on the control that they would have sold with those. The amps maybe not the best for them. It's a good amp, but I think they need more power. And they don't like certain digital amps the Bose can be. You've obviously got Mackie speakers and a lot of expensive audio equipment that does, for all accounts, sound hi-fi. Where would you use those in it all?
Where would I use those in that?
Yeah.
I think if we were to do a lot more outdoor gigs, which I have got some sort of marquee jobs coming up, I think they'd be ideal for throwing that out there for dispersion.
Because whether you like Bose or the speaker or not, what you can't take away from it is its ability to throw it outwards in the way they do. And the waterproof, which is another trick.
This particular series of speaker, it was and still is Bose's flagship.
Yeah. Well, it isn't anymore. It's discontinued, this D802 sadly. There was a series after that, which I think was, by all accounts, the same with just the wall bracket thing on it, but yeah, they don't make that anymore.
It's sad, really, but at least we've got some.
But at least we've got some that are as new, with a good history. And it was sad to see the Superdry store close, because it was one of the 5 top ones in the country, that branch, which is why I had these in. A lot of the new ones have the A-part Mask 6s, which...
Really? Oh, no brainer, these are much better box.
The shop had 20 of those in, or 16 to, I don't know which it was, I don't fully know. 3 QSC amps and the controller. You just think if they had a DJ on, like someone told me a story about the Meadowhall Superdry, and there's a students' union night out that happens every year, and every shop, like clothing, puts a thing on with the DJ for the students to buy the clothes. And he told me that the Superdry Meadow, which had the same setup, 802 Series 3s, and not as many because it weren't 2 floors like York, he said that they were the only store that didn't need a separate PA system for DJ. That was enough.
The Superdry Meadows Hall still
Meadow
going?
Hall, Sheffield, yeah.
Still going?
Yeah.
Still got these in?
As far as I'm aware, I can't see why they've downgraded.
That's good to know.
So, that gives you a bit of perspective. And I do find when they're indoors and the wall mounted, the bass output's even stronger because obviously it reverberates off the walls.
It does. I found there'll be a lot more bass here inside than they are out.
Yeah, absolutely. But to consider that these are outside and the bass is, I haven't really turned the bass up on the EQ other than the big curve on there.
No.
You can't really argue with that.
No, they've got absolutely phenomenal bass to the side.
Yeah.
And there was a certain person, names who we shan't mention, who did say that on this particular speaker, these weren't bassy, but you had to have a subwoofer with them.
I disagree. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to get the chest thumping bass, but for a lot of functions outdoor where people want to hear each other, if it's not a dance music festival, do you really need that low frequency extension? They have enough down to 50 Hz. The box is tuned to 50 Hz, and it was a major selling point of that speaker that you didn't need a subwoofer. So I don't know who's made that comment, but it's fundamentally flawed because Bose did design them to be used for foreground music without a woofer. Obviously to a certain
There was a chap online really who I was reading through some comments on a forum. He basically said that these without the 502B were completely useless.
See, the thing is, the 802 Series 2 also has a really good bass and the ports are true. People think the ports have been removed and they haven't, they just go further in.
They have, yes.
So the fact that they need a subwoofer is an old wives' tale. The only time you would need a subwoofer with them is if you really wanted to cane them, because they can't take the bass. If it's only a little driver, it'll just start popping if you really blast it at high levels. I mean, that amp isn't capable of it, but certainly something more powerful would be.
Oh, definitely. Mind you, you've got protection within the speaker management system itself, the processor.
Yeah, we do.
Right.